thing we call heat wave. we are even being given warnings that we need to be having our bottles of water around. You have to sit in a cool place, all things like that. So that's how it is for now.
It's the exact opposite over here. We've gotten less and less snow each year. I mean, going back
Mm.
20 years ago, we would get pounded. There'd be years where we would get feet of snow and it would just keep piling up. We get it now and it
Mm.
just melts, and it's not too much.
Okay. So we are live. We are live here, and I have Shea was. We have done meeting with Shea, and she was
Shea, just like Shea Butter,
shy.
baby.
Oh yeah, Shy. Shy. We have done a meeting with Shy, and that was this is the second time you're having a meeting. And
Yeah.
the first meeting, when we don't talk and we don't meet, we don't know what exactly people have done, what they have passed through. That's why the video is quite, like I say, the video is more details compared to just the writing on the charts. So um, you shared about the healing that happened to you. You had about 3, 4 things that were in your body with this kind of a lifestyle, and then things changed. And then, for me, I was like, okay, now you've got it. That is it. Then now comes in this issue of the parasites, which now we want to make sure that we link what we have in the past, you experienced in the past, and this one, so that people see the importance of having to do the like I say, parasite cleanse. How do you call it now? How do you say?
Yeah, I
How
would say
call it?
parasite cleanse. Just the objective is just complete removal of these organisms that are they're stealing our energy essentially.
Mm. And you see, you are able to heal hernia. You're able to heal. Like, if I can remember these things often, you had issues with what else was some kind of symptoms that were like MS. Yeah.
Yeah, so my cousin has MS. He was diagnosed with MS, and he was
Mm.
telling me about what's called the MS hug, where it feels like something is wrapping around you, like your waist area.
Mm.
So I was dealing with that. That went away. I had the tumor right here, just in the back of my heart, that shrank and went away. I also had multiple hernias that were also gone. There was neurological symptoms. I was falling down. I was dizzy. I was seeing like specks, I guess you could say, or trails. A lot of neurological symptoms, a lot of nerve pain in the neck, pain in the spine. Um, the limbs, like the extremities of the limbs, weakness there.
Mm.
It wasn't fun to say the least.
And after getting this lifestyle of fasting, you did we just want to make people a recap, like you did some like 2, 3 days to 5 days dry fast, then you are doing a mucus diet, and then after a period of almost like a year, you said after almost like a period like a year, all these things disappeared.
Yes, cavities also went away. It was
Yeah.
primarily the mucus-free diet that was,
Mm.
coined by Professor Arnold Ehret. That kind of started. That was part of this whole transition. But just
Mm.
removing the foods that accumulate waste in the body. You feed these organisms, right, because it's waste, and their job is to clean up. Their nature's cleaners. And also the regular dry fasting. I have not been able to go over 5 days, but I've done a lot of those, and then just continuous dry fasting. You know what I mean? Like at least one day every week, and at least 12 hours every day. So more than a long dry fast, just being consistent with it, because it's not a sprint, right? It's a marathon.
Mm.
It's a change of state. It's a state of being that needs to change, not just one day or 2 day. Needs to be continuous going forward.
And I think that is the approach. this is one big secret we are getting. Immediately people get information, it's like they run to it. Even as we want to talk about parasites and how to do parasite class, it's something that you just come like, when you get that information, you do a miracle and then I've done everything is done. No, you do it as a lifestyle. You do this thing with, like we can say, periodically with some rest, and then you come again and do it. That is reasonable. That makes it what did not work now will work in the next. It's the same thing that you just repeat, but not so close, and also not too long period in between. I think it makes sense. What we need, actually, let me say it this way. What we need is the results. Like now we are talking about all those things disappeared in your body. That is the most important thing. That's the most important thing. It's not that, okay, I have done like breaking some world marathon records. No, it's our health that is the most important. That is a record we are breaking, that I am healthy. That is it. That is it. Yeah. So we want to focus on the parasites. And I want us to why do we have that? I have to mute some people.
Yeah, a little feedback.
Mute yourself, please. So at what point did you realize that you have, how do you know that these things are there? Because as you're doing this lifestyle, you feel like, okay, everything's fine. They should be getting out. They should be fine.
So for me, I've always been very sensitive energetically, and I could feel something was stealing my energy. There was a disruption in my just overall magnetism, electromagnetism. It was off kilter. So that right there showed me that I had some form of organism in my body that was malfunctioning my overall energetic flow, right? Because everything has a frequency. So if, say, our frequency is supposed to be A, right? But then we have organisms that are operating on frequency C, of course, that's going to take us away from A and drag us maybe towards B. And, B could be, just an overall state of decreased health, decreased happiness, decreased well-being. So I felt it in myself. I even felt them moving around, which is disgusting as that sounds, because it is disgusting. So I can actually feel them. And also my moods, you know what I mean? I would have judgments about people, or I would have anger. And I know that's not me. I know myself, you know what I mean? Like that's feelings and thoughts that didn't really correspond with my true self. So that was another way I was able to ascertain that there was something going on within me, because it's always within.
Wow. And after realizing this, how do you make conclusion these are parasites? Because it's not as easy as somebody may, outside there, somebody will be able to tell, is this a parasite? Is it a disease? Am I fatigued? Is it in my emotions? Maybe some issues with my past? Or how will you be able to conclude this is nothing else but exactly these parasites?
That's a great question, Frederick. So I had read Dr. Hulda Clark's book some years ago, and her thought was that every sort of human disease comes from a parasitic infestation. So I thought that was really interesting, right? And then I had went on an ayahuasca journey some years ago, and that showed me that, like, what I seen during that experience was that parasites are a pressing issue in society, and we just have to get rid of them. So I'm able to ascertain what is me and what's not me. So if I'm having certain emotions or thoughts, I mean, if energy is flowing properly, right, like we should be healthy. In my opinion, we're perfect beings. We came into this world perfectly. We've only degenerated ourselves by living outside of nature's design, right? And with that comes consequences. Now, when our body starts to decay, deteriorate, and essentially fall apart, What's going to come to, clean that up? Well, you're going to have parasitic organisms which eat waste, and we are becoming waste at that point since we are decaying. So those two things right there, along with my studies, showed me it was 100% parasites.
Hmm. And another question, when immediately we talked and we had the chat, and I was like, we're going to have a meeting. What was really giving me the question that I was like, this one I have to ask was about how do this thing get into our system? Is it through the food we eat, especially the types of food we eat, or are they generated by our own? Where do these things really come from? That is the biggest question I have. I'm like, okay, if I eat so clean, I am very careful with what get into me. So then where do I get these things from? I saw some post somewhere, somebody was saying, okay, these things are generated exactly from within our body. I don't think that is so true. I don't think if it's true. I don't know. But anyway, where do these things come from? If we are able to know where they come from, we can also be able to do what? Make like avoid avoid like make a stop from that continuation. Because if I already know this is a source, I'll not go to that place, so that I'm not going to have a problem of now have to be eliminating every now and then. But anyway, elimination must be done because they always come. So we can't we can't just say this one is not going to work. This is what works. No, we can't use just one way, like prevention and leave the cure. We have to cure what is already existing, but we also have to prevent. Exactly. So that question, if I can repeat myself, the question is, where do you think exactly these things come from? And majority, we can leave alone the small ones, but majority get parasites from where?
So there's a belief in Taoism, and it's a physiological belief, and it's pretty much it would translate to the three corpses. Okay, so what they believe is that at birth, and it's interesting too, because if you look into the Bible, we have this term called generational demons, right? Now, you can always take out the word demon and replace it with worm or parasite, and it's never going to be off put. It's always going to be symmetrical, right? So, are generational demons hereditary parasites? I believe so, and the reason I say this is this is just from analyzing my own life, and then what I found out about my family. So my grandfather was in World War II. He got drafted into the military. He was diagnosed, I believe, with a form of hepatitis, and he was not able to ever donate blood. Okay, so obviously something was in his blood of a virulent nature. Now, when I was born, well, even before me, my sister, she passed away before I was born. And then my mother and father had me. Now, I had what's called ADHD when I was a kid. I couldn't concentrate. I was always running around. Through my studies, that seems like that is caused by some form of parasite. So I think some of them get passed down through the blood, or even say the child is in the womb, right? And the mother has parasites in that area, in her abdominal region. It's possible these things can infiltrate into the embryo. We don't exactly know how it works, but we can also make some assessments based off of our observations, right? So that's one way I think they get passed down. Yeah, definitely in the food, water. I mean, if you look a lot of places in Africa, there's not a lot of clean water sources, right? People are malnourished. They'll have skinnier frames on the side, like arms and legs, but their stomachs will be huge, right? Because they're unfortunately full of worms. So water, food, um, chemicals, you know what I mean? Chemicals, I believe, heavy metals, like these things love to eat heavy metals. So anything that doesn't belong in our body, I look at as a source of food for them because they're cleaners. They're going to clean up garbage. What is garbage? Rotting matter or anything unnatural. So they come in a lot of ways. A lot of it's lifestyle. We make conscious choices every single day, right? And these choices are either going to be in the alignment of nature's design, and it's going to propel us towards a higher state of being, or they're going to drag us away from that, right? Sinning, right? And when we sin, there's consequences, right?
Yeah. And I want to put something in, like a thought. You see, fruits. You are
Mm-hmm.
told one time we had a meeting with Dr. Phil over here, and he was talking about the best fruits are fruits that have not have, but somehow they can be. You can see some worms in them. Like if you find fruits that have totally no worm, it means that it has some chemicals that does not allow life. But when you find you have collected your fruits and you have put them somewhere, and then you find some worms in them, that is a healthy one. So you just need to get one that has not been infested by worms, and then you eat that one.
That's
But now
very
this,
interesting.
yeah,
That's
it was. It's more of some of these things have some of the fruits that we have, or that people eat. Most of them have too many chemicals, especially anti-parasites, anti-pesticides, anti-what. All those things are somewhere. Even during the time that they were grown, there were all those things around that come from all these chemicals. So my thought has been, could it be that some of these fruits, or especially fruits that we eat, and even vegetables, have these things?
more than
That's just a thought.
likely. No,
That's a,
more than likely. I mean, that's why they say clean fruits and vegetables. I mean, I use ozonator. I don't know if you're familiar with the ozonator.
no. But I know, from what I see people discuss, I know there's something like that. But
For
I don't have it.
oxidation, to
Mm-hmm.
just remove all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't feel it belongs in our body. You know what I mean? There's nothing telling me that I should invite something into my body that's going to nest, steal my energy, defecate in me. And I don't want something in my body shitting. Like, it can't be
Mm-hmm.
good.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, immediately you eliminated these worms that now we are going to talk about. Uh, so how did you feel? What was the change that made you feel like, okay, these were the cause of my trouble?
Well, you start to feel immediately different. Even how
Mm,
you would respond, like, say, before I may get a little agitated about something somebody does, or I feel like I'm rushed, kind of like in a fight or flight mode, which I feel a lot of people are. I mean, we can just tell by how people drive. They're always in a rush, right? It's like they have to get somewhere. It's like their reptilian brain is pressing them for survival. And how are you going to create when you're in a state of survival? Um, when that thing came out, all I had to do was look at it and be like, nah, that that shouldn't be there. And the way I felt when it came out was like a weight's been lifted off my shoulder. The energy was flowing properly throughout the body. There was no sort of disruption. I felt regrounded to the earth once again, which I did feel when I was doing long dry fasts. But for some reason, I felt that they would always come back. And
mm,
I think it was because of the ropeworm, because I look at it as like attracts like, right? If we have one form of parasite in us, it's probably going to invite other forms of parasites as well. And the ropeworm, I mean, it's a very interesting species because, I mean, there's been like DNA tests done on it, and it shows to it's looks like it resembles human DNA. I don't know if that makes it undetectable to our immune system,
mm,
or if we have to do like a 20-day dry fast to wipe it out. But that's not feasible for everybody to do a 20-day dry fast. It's
mm,
just we can all get there, but it could take much longer, and we want to eliminate this issue immediately so we can start gathering the benefits that it provides.
mm. I And that takes us to the types of worms. As you're talking, you talk about ropeworm, and I'm like, what are the types of worms that people can have in their body? And also, how long do these things stay in these people's body? Because this is just a general question, general question for thought. And then you can also talk about the most dangerous ones. Anyway, all of them are not important, are not good in our body, but then there are some type that could be very, very, very dangerous. Yeah. So this ropeworm, how long? How long is it?
This particular one was about like this.
That's too
I
long.
guess they can get up to be 2 meters long. And yeah, up to 2 meters long. So these things may live in us through the entirety of our life cycle, and they could be a large contributor to why we die in the first place. Because I mean, even doctors, scientists, right? They realize the cell's immortal, right? So if the cell is immortal and human beings are dying, well, then there's something going on. There's something that's essentially causing us to die. Are these things a major contributor? I believe so personally.
If something can live, is that long, and then again it's multiplying, it's not going to be there alone. Then and it's staying there for a long time. You can't have a productive life. I see. Somebody who has all this, you can't have a productive life, and then you'll be having the way you were saying it in the beginning, that you'll be fulfilling its wish. It is the one that is thinking for you, driving you, graving things for, I want to eat this. It's not coming from you. So the only way out is to eliminate them. So we can talk about this anyway. We can talk about this. But just before we talk about elimination, there are so many things in the group. I think I want to read something for you. Hi, Shea, Shai. I listened to your I listened to your earlier video posted by Frederick. I have a few questions. I fast regularly for about 24 hours, and I am a vegan since birth. The longest duration I fasted was 40 hours. And I would have I've continued for longer, but ended just out of fear based on your experience. Would you please recommend a few things? First, how to pick foods that are mucaless and that would generate little waste, how to continue longer fast without fear, and any recommendation that would provide to set a rhythm would be much appreciated. Thanks for taking my question. May God bless you.
God bless you too. And in regards to that, I mean, where is the fear coming from? It's hard to say. Is it us fearing, or is it? I mean, we're talking about parasites, right? Obviously, these things want to prolong their lives. If fasting is truly good for us and it cleans out our organism, but then there's something inside of us that relies on us destroying ourselves to remain alive. That could be it. I personally think it is, because anytime I broke a 5-day dry fast, towards the end of it, it would get very difficult and I would just lose control. That's why I kind of took a step back. But fruits are going to make you detox much quicker. For me now, I just eat a very simple salad. I like to do black radish or red radish with lettuce. I don't eat any vegetables or fruits without seeds. You know what I mean? If they have seeds, they haven't really been altered too much. I mean, there's ways to alter organisms without genetically modified GMOs. You know what I mean? There's old school ways. So, I mean, just being patient with ourselves is number one. It's like I was saying earlier, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint, right? So it's okay if you feel that fear. It's not necessarily even you, but just be continuous, and make incremental changes. Don't try to change everything all at one time, and don't feel rushed. You know what I mean? If you're making progress, be happy with that. You're going to get results. It's just you need to be consistent, right? It's a lifestyle change. Meditation helps, prayer, speaking out loud positive things to yourself, because everything is sound. I am the healing, I am the opportunity. So when we speak to ourselves, we're generating energy that's on our behalf, something that we need, because we need power, we need energy. So meditation, prayer, and just, I don't do any seasonings. I don't really do any salts. So stay away from things that trigger you. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to know yourself better than I'm going to know you. Like, what are your triggers? See what your triggers are, because those are probably what the parasites are desiring. That's what they want, right? But you got to go slow, because if not, the detox symptoms are going to be too heavy, and you're going to slip. I know I have.
Wow.
I hope that answers the question.
Um, yeah, if is going to have, I don't know if it's a she or a he who asked this question. Yeah, this is Ravi. So if Ravi has something else he's going to ask, but there's somebody who was saying, apparently, no, let me just read the whole thing. Apparently, the longest tapeworm found in a human was 17 meters. This is only what has been found. They are likely to grow even longer. They say Ascaris alone lays 250,000 eggs a day. This is why this is a marathon. Patience, patience, patience.
Yeah,
That information is
yeah.
scary. It's scary. Yeah.
That's crazy. It's 17 meters was the longest one that was ever found.
And a human being.
That's
17 meters. That's too long. And I had I just got some more information here about their names. We have roundworms, we have tapeworms, we have flukes, we have pinworms, then we have hookworms, threadworms, whipworms. I think that is the last one. There's 7 of them. All these things, you can find them all in one person. You can find that all this, the way they are, the 3, 4, 5 types of them in one person. Or most time you find that only one type, which is the one that is prevalent, or we can say it's the one that affects the person depending on the environment where the person is.
I've thought about that too, depending on what the like the climate is. Some may have like in tropical climates, you know what I mean? It might be different than where it gets colder and stuff like that, because everything is going to kind of have to adapt to its environment to survive, right?
Yeah, yeah. Now let's talk about the elimination. How were you successfully able to find, first of all, information? How do you detect this is the best one that I should use against what I'm feeling?
I'll be honest, a lot of trial and error. I'm somebody that is big on empirical knowledge, right? I can read something and I could see that, okay, like this looks reasonable, right? As a source of information, but does it work? I have to put it into practice. I have to do it. I have to experience it. And that's the only way I'm going to really know if it's going to be true or not, right? Like, we got to experience it for ourselves. So it was just a lot of reading, a lot of gathering information. I mean, hours and hours and hours and hours over the last couple of years. I mean, I really dove into this subject, head first. And there's different ways. There's really no silver bullet, right? Because there's different organisms. And I believe these different organisms require a different type of poison, to take them out. For instance, like we have candida, right? We have fungus. Baking soda is extremely effective against fungus. I mean, if someone were to wake up in the morning, do like 30 sit-ups, take a hot glass of water, about 145 degrees Fahrenheit, put a teaspoon of baking soda in it, drink it, and then do that 2 more times, very shortly, they're going to just be eliminating a massive amount of fungus. They're going to be on the toilet and it's just going to be coming out. And they're going to be like, what the? So, yes. So there are different ways, right? And the fungus for me, I don't know if the fungus assists in the development of the biofilm, but the biofilm will actually act as a fortress for these parasites, right? So you could take like herbs, you could take special substances, right? But say if these parasites are covered in this biofilm, that actually may prevent the remedy from getting into them in the first place. And the biofilm, is caused by eating the wrong foods, which, like grains definitely cause a lot of mucus in the body. I don't do meat whatsoever anymore. So it was really just a big process of trial and error, seeing what did work and what didn't work. And after going through the process for a very long time and paying attention to the results we get, then we can ascertain like, okay, this was good information, this works, and this doesn't really work, at least for me. So I'm just going to move that to the side. I don't need to do that anymore.
Mhm.
Putting into practice, man, that's the only way we can see for ourselves, right? It's like we can believe something, but belief is what? Like, oh, I believe this, but I don't have any evidence for it. Like, I need to know this for myself. Like, I need to see the results because when I see the results, then I know, and nobody can tell me anything different when I see the results.
Mm. Yeah. So in particular, you talked about you used was it sagebrush or what? And what else?
What's that? Sorry.
The particular herbal things that you used that were I've forgotten the name, but I think I'd love to get from the chat we had with you. So what in particular do you use, and how many? How what was the way of administration, or in the normal language they call dosage, but like how much were you using, were you taking for a lot, what time of period of time did you take it for 3 4 5 days, a week, a month, to see the change? Mm-hmm.
It was a while, and it was different things. So one thing, I'll start with the exterior applications. So I don't know if anybody's familiar with Zalmanov. He was the one that created the turpentine bath method, and he essentially referred to it as capillary therapy. So Filanov actually mentions it in his book. It's where you're doing the mixed turpentine baths. Those are phenomenal. Um, Mixed turpentine baths are going to do a great job of cleaning up the capillaries, which is just going to allow better blood flow throughout the body, right? Because energy, like we can take herbal supplements, but if we don't have proper energetic flow throughout the body, right? Like we're not going to be in a state to heal ourselves because really the body's going to be the one to fully rid itself of parasites. I mean, we just need to eliminate as much as we can so the body can get to the point where it just, you know what I'm saying? It has the energy, it has the power, it has the vitality to pretty much be the master healer that it is. So I was doing multiple cycles. I would do the turpentine bath, the white turpentine bath, which for me, I used turpentine. And as an emulsifying agent, I just used simple castle soap, mix those two up, put it in water of 104 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I soaked in the bath for 20 minutes. Upon finishing the bath, I got out, I wrapped a rope around me, and I wrapped in a big blanket and I laid down for an hour to two. You're going to sweat like crazy. You're going to feel tingling throughout your body. And then I would skip a day. The next day, I would do a yellow turpentine bath. That would consist of turpentine, castor oil, and oleic acid. Shake it up, mix it up, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 minutes, same thing. Get out, bathrobe, lay down for an hour or two, sweat like crazy. Now, I would say anybody interested in doing these, they should look into it in a more detailed manner because I'm just giving kind of a brief overview. But the turpentine baths overall do have fantastic potential for assisting our body in reaching a state where it can do what it was designed to do, be perfect. And I don't mean without fault, I mean whole and complete. I'm talking from the adjective standpoint. Um, Now, for the internal consumption, right, you have green black walnut hull, which is which is a fantastic anti-parasitic. You have wormwood, and you also have cloves. So cloves kills the eggs. The other two kills the worms. This is the thing, though. Those three, from my experience and experience that I've had just going through this process, does not take care of the ropeworm. I don't think anything. It does not take care of the ropeworm. It just doesn't. I don't know why. I don't know if they've evolved. Like, I don't know how these things were created. I don't know what they are, but they're unlike any other parasite I've seen. It's interesting. I watched a video from Dr. Gubarev, who was the one that discovered these, and he has certain patents. He has certain methods that were patented in Russia to remove these parasites. And he has one under a microscope, and it has scales like a snake, which I thought was very interesting.
Mm.
So physiologically, it's a lot different than every other worm.
This ropeworm, we can say it is the most the one that is the way you say somehow it becomes like part and parcel of your system, like your DNA. So
yes,
so the body does not see it as a foreigner to eliminate it, even when you are trying to assist the body with anything from external to help you. You said you talked about eucalyptus. I got it. Eucalyptus broth enema with eucalyptus
yes,
dropped hair and lemon juice.
That's how you get the demons out.
And, and you started to talk about them as demons, but we don't really talk so much about it because these things work exactly like demons. And even in the Bible, there's a part where it talks about the worms in hell. They die not. They die not. So the worms are like these ones that give us headache because hell belongs to demons. It belongs to those things that, according to the Bible, that was thrown away, that was evil from heaven. And you see with worms, the way they work, also a person who is possessed with demons, you can't do much with your life. It's the same way with with the worms. You have worms inside you. You have it's equivalent to demons because it is draining your mind, draining where you think. Also, leave alone draining, changing your behavior. You start to behave in a way that the pattern that it wants. It detects what it wants from you. Yet you are it uses you as a host to do what it likes or what it wants, as it's taking all the energy from you. So we have no alternative but to eliminate them. And what else? If somebody has a question or so wants to have a comment or something like that, you can talk to us now in the chat in the Zoom now. So we're live.
Live.
Yeah, you're live. You're live. And I really like the topic. I really like what you're discussing because people are going to find help here.
It's interesting what you mentioned though about them being able to push us towards certain behaviors, and we have to look at physiologically how is this even possible, right? Because we know the behaviors that are occurring, but most of these things reside in the stomach. I mean, they will get into the spine, they will get into the brain, right? But within the stomach, it's been called the first mind. We also know that the spine is the highway for our electrical system. So what's above the spine? The brain. Now they have the ability to send electrical pulses up our spine to our brain, directly controlling our behavior. So we can scientifically describe it as, they have a very keen sense of how to actually push us towards what feeds them. It's kind of perplexing, but at the same time, it's very simple. You know what I mean? If we eliminate them, we take on a new shape and form of life that was previously forgotten. It's like feeling like a child again.
Wow, thank you. Do you have anyone who has a question or a comment? Because for me, I think we have exhausted what we want to talk about today.
Hey,
In
Frederick,
the
can I ask some question?
Yes, you're good to go.
Thank you, Frederick. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Hey, Shah, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, Ravi. Great, brother. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thank you, sir. Hey, I listened to your earlier video posted by Frederick that you gave it to this group some time ago. Very, very insightful. Lot of great information you shared about your own personal situation. That really helped me a lot. Appreciate that. I have a few follow-up questions after listening to your fasting patterns and how did you eliminate all those the bad guys that we don't need in your body. To give a background, I'm a born vegan, so and I hardly eat in restaurants, store-bought cereals. I don't eat anything at all since my birth. So I'm a very lean person, 108 pounds, and I am 5'8". So I don't have excess fat in my body with my body structure. To give my fasting background, I do fast almost every other day. I fast, and the days I eat, I fast for 20 hours, and then remaining 4 hours, I eat some food. I've been avoiding grains last 2 months. I eat mostly vegetables and some nuts, all kinds of nuts, macadamias, walnuts, almonds, peanuts, all nuts. That is my personal thing. And the longest I ever fasted was about 40 hours. I would have continued after 40 hours, but I have some fears and concern that if it goes beyond 40 hours, my the kidney will do this, my brain will do this. Also, mental blocks come into play, and 40 hours I broke my fast and I started eating something. So, learning from your experience after listening to your video, you have been able to sustain for 5 days of not eating, and then how did you do that? Any insights on that? How can I change my mental mind? I know it's a mental block that I have, but if you can share your experience, how did you extend to 5 days? That would be really helpful. And also, I'm a runner. I'm addicted to running. I run about 12 kilometers, about 67 miles every single day. Maybe if I reduce that or slow down or completely stop running, will I help prolong my fasting? So if you could throw some insights into these questions, I would really appreciate it. Thank you again, Sean, and thank you, Frederick, for hosting, Sean.
Yes, sir, Ravi.
Namaste.
So, I think with that, one step at a time, right? Are you fasting regularly? Do you do like
Regularly,
a weekly
every other
fast?
day, every other day I fast.
For 24 hours?
24 hours, correct.
Okay, dry?
No, I drink water, hot water, boiling water.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, like going past 5 days would be tough, right? Because I became ravenous. Like I lost control, which I thought it was the parasites because like I literally lost control. Like something was like controlling me. This is what it felt
Exactly.
like. So, I looked at like what Philanov says, and he says you don't really need to go for prolonged periods of time. If you're just doing short fasts and you're doing it regularly, you're going to get the compound benefits over time. So, maybe your body, or it could be your body telling you that maybe a long dry fast isn't good for, a long fast isn't good for you. Who knows? We have to kind of be our own guide, right? Like we have to, because everybody's dealing with a different level of toxicity. Everybody's dealing with a different level of infestation. So I think if we're patient with ourselves and we learn to discern our true inner voice from our true voice, because there's stuff coming into us and it's like, yeah, that ain't me. Like that ain't me. Can't be me. You know what I mean? But I think just one step at a time, patience and continuous application. And this is the fun part, right? This is a journey.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I have one follow-up question, if I may ask you. I stopped fruit last couple of months. I'm not eating fruits because I have been hearing a lot of things about the fructose the fruits has fructose, metabolized only in the liver. So I stopped fruits. I am eating only vegetables and nuts. So listening to you, what kind of mucusless vegetables and fruits would you recommend that will generate less mucus and will generate less waste in the body?
Great question. So I usually just do mono fruit. I do one fruit at a time. I don't mix a lot of foods either. So my setup is like this. I eat one fruit at a time. It could be apple. Sorry. It could be apples. It depends on the season. I'm eating a fruit that's in season. So lately I've just been eating apples, right? Because, and sometimes oranges, but I'm not mixing acid with sweet because that causes fermentation.
Fermentation, correct. Yeah.
So I could maybe mix a sub acid with the acid, but anything with seeds is good. Apple, papaya, seeded watermelon, seeded grapes,
Plums.
right?
Okay.
You know, all fruits are mucusless.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep. Any starchy vegetable causes mucus. So like my salads are very simple. I do salad with cucumber. I do salad with lettuce, radish, and bell peppers.
Oh, okay. So they don't cause mucus. So they don't cause mucus at all.
And when you eat something, you'll know if it causes mucus because you're gonna get that. And you can listen to people eating. When people are eating heavy food, you're gonna hear them do that, and you're gonna say like, I know why now, which I never noticed that before when I was eating that stuff, but only after I went mucus free. So you just have to listen to your body. You'll know if it's creating mucus in you. You're gonna get the indications, whether it be your nose, whether it be your you're gonna have to cough it up almost when you're eating. Okay. But I would look at there's Berg's table. If you look that up, that's an interesting table that will show you to what degree food removes mucus or causes mucus. BERG, Berg's table.
Berg's table. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Berg. I appreciate it. Hey, Frederick, thank you so much for hosting. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome, Ravi.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Frederick, you probably want the exact method to get the ropeworm out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm thinking like we didn't even go over that. We got to go over that. So it's very simple. And this is a patented method. This is from Dr. Gubarev. So I fasted the whole day. I just drank liquid. At 1 a.m. to 2 a.m., because that's when they're going to be moving. That's their time, the ropeworm. Well, you want to do cleansing enema first, 2 liters. Expel. You want to take 30 grams of eucalyptus leaves, and you want to put that in water and bring the water to 106 degrees Fahrenheit. So 1 liter of water. Then you're going to add 30 drops of eucalyptus oil. You're going to take that enema and you're going to hold it for 20 plus minutes. After that, you expel it. Immediately following, you're going to do a fresh lemon juice enema. He said 200 milliliters of fresh lemon juice. I did it a little differently. I did about 5 lemons, the rind included. I pasteurized it. I boiled it, brought it to a simmer, and I mixed that with 500 milliliters of hot water. And I took that in for 20 minutes and held it. And you can hold it longer if you can, up to an hour. Expel it. Now that's at night. The following morning, you're going to want to do a cleansing enema of 2 liters as soon as you wake up, followed by another eucalyptus broth and oil enema, followed by the lemon juice enema. So you're pretty much doing it at night from 1 to 2 a.m. And then you're doing it in the morning the next day. And then after 9 p.m., you're going to do a cleansing enema. And after 9 is when I seen most of them come out, but I did have some come out in the morning. And I'm going to follow through with this again next weekend just because I want to see if anything else comes out, but I'm feeling pretty damn good.
Wow. So there's nothing you're ingesting from your mouth like that?
Not for the ropeworm. I just drink the hot baking soda with water and then lay on my back. So I drink a big cup of hot water, 140 degrees to 145, teaspoon of baking soda, drink laying down with two pillows under my pelvis. I lay for 10 minutes and then I flip to my right side 10 minutes, flip to my stomach 10 minutes, and then flip to my left side 10 minutes. You're going to hear all sorts of nasty bubbling. That's going to get out one stage of the ropeworm because there's 4 stages of the ropeworm. It's like a mucus, it's like a gel, and then it ends up like what I had come out of me, the final stage. It almost has like a sharp like head with a sucker, and there was blood attached to the sucker. And then I had blood come out of me, a little blood come out of me as well. Because from what Gubarev says, he says these things actually latch inside to the colon. They're like made out of sticky material, and they just suck blood from us. They're like vampires, essentially, you know?
Mm.
But when they come
I,
out, you're going to feel better than you ever felt before.
mm. And I see the reason why they don't get out. That mouth, it is using it to attach itself to your to the walls of the colon. So it is sucking blood, but it's also holding itself with it. It's holding itself with it to stay there for the maximum time it can stay. Wow. You have also made something very clear. Their location is the large intestine, not every part of the body. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
They do.
And you know what I'm thinking? So you said turpentine bath. This one is totally separate from this procedure. It's something you do totally independent.
Correct. I like to usually just do that. I do a cycle every once in a while, because we're dealing with the other organisms in us as well, right? So we just need strong blood flow. It's about energy. If we have power, we have vitality. If we have energy, none of this stuff can exist in us. Like we just need to get back to the point where we are what we're supposed to be, perfect, whole and complete.
Wow, thank you. Somebody asked here if dry fast can help with the elimination of this is Larry. Doesn't dry fast also kill parasites?
Dry fasting kills parasites, absolutely. But I don't think, from my experience, it doesn't take care of the ropeworm. Maybe if you do 15, 20, 30 days, I don't know. I've never done it. But I was doing a lot of 5-day dry fasting and, dry fasting every day, at least one day, dry fasting every week, at least one day and 12 hours a day, while also following mucus-free diet. And I still had these ropeworms in me. So they only came out with those enemas.
Wow. And there's another person asking, I think it's good also to let people know that dry fast it's just not something that we just think it's a cure for all. There's some things that we must do. And this is why we also talk about cleansing before fasting. And I think this must be our method of cleansing before doing a fast. We always talk about the liver, talk about the just the salt flash, what. But I think this parasite cleanse should be number one before a fast, so that your fast becomes very easy. And together with the other cleanse method, then you will be able to reach the number you want to reach. I was asking myself, I was thinking this way: why would you go for a prolonged, very prolonged dry fast if there's a very simple way to just eliminate these things? If you use enema with this protocol that we are sharing here, why would you now want to do a very prolonged fast? Yet you can, and you're sure they're going to be eliminated. You do the fasting after you're through with this cleansing. It is going to be much, much, much beneficial. Somebody saying, what about mold contamination? Any tips how to eliminate mold and the humidity in the body? This is Violet in the meeting.
For mold, I mean, dry fasting definitely. Zeolite, clonoptilolite is a fantastic substance as well, which is essentially just a volcanic rock mineral. Drinking that with water is great. It's honeycomb shaped. If you look at its overall structure, it's honeycomb shaped, so it'll actually engulf toxins and mold.
Somebody was muting someone. So do you have anyone else who has a question? Any thoughts on urine enemas? There's a question from one of us. I think it's just a person who's joining now. He's asking if you have.
I don't know about the urine enemas. I mean, I've done them. I've definitely done them. Don't get me wrong, but just something about it didn't resonate. I did urine therapy for a long time as well. I think there's a time and a place for everything. Maybe I'm not quite there yet. Like inside me, I just knew I had to get rid of these things first because they're wreaking havoc on my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, kind of like you said before, Frederick, like, when somebody has demons in their life, like you can't do anything. You know what I'm saying? You're stuck. Like, and like that, it's not supposed to be like that. It's not supposed to be like that at all.
I get you very well. You are like in a prison. You're chained with what you can't see, but you keep in their demands, keeping doing their demands, just circling yourself around somewhere. Like it is very bright. We may not be having like shouting and saying but what the topic we have today is extremely important, because no matter the kind of lifestyle people are living outside here, the natural way of healing themselves and doing one thing that is stuck with everybody is parasites. And I think even some of these people are feeling like, okay, let's not handle that one. They are normal and part of a parcel in our body. We don't need to worry about them, because they don't have some of them don't have the solution. You want to heal yourself, you want to do other things, people rush to those other things that are quick, and then they go. But the major one is this one. If we overcome this one, every other thing you want to do, it does not make you stop do the other things, but it helps you now to be very free. We are talking about freedom. It helps you to be very free, to be able to now do things with your choice, with a decision that is made from you without any influence, any negative influence. And we call these things like negative entity. We always talk about negative entity, demons outside there that visit you even in your dreams. They control you. They control, and there's a direct link between parasites and demons and their work. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Actually, Shea here is saying it's one thing. Demon and parasite is one thing. And for me, I feel they do the same work. They do the same work. Hello? And they coordinate. Yeah. It's one and the same. Yeah. So do you have
100, Frederick?
Yeah.
100, my brother. Well said.
Somebody saying, thank you, Shea, for sharing. Very interesting. After doing it once, one day, and then the next following week, do you recommend doing the enemas regularly, say once a year or so? Okay, this is just about the frequency. This is Chris.
I don't know. I did it a couple weeks ago, and I am gonna do it tomorrow again because I want to see. I got to see for myself, right? Like, is anything else going to come out? Like, I'm feeling really good. I don't feel anything stealing my energy right now, but I'm going to try it because I got to see, right? Like, I'm not just going to be like, oh, I believe I'm clean 100%. Frequency, I don't know. I know that the ropeworm is the final stage, though, in the developmental cycle. So the first, I believe the first and the second stages, if somebody's drinking baking soda, once in a while, has a neutral pH level, they might not be able to ever reach the final stage again. Our body might just be wiping them out before they get there because they're like a jelly. They're like a mucus. They're like almost like a jellyfish in the beginning. And then they go through this process where they end up this massive worm with like a sucker at the end of their head, like a snake with scales. So I can't answer for sure that. I don't know.
Yeah. somebody asking in the YouTube them if that is the only way to eliminate ropeworms. And as this question comes in and you are talking, I feel as if these things have, depending on the type, there's a place they stay. Like roundworms, maybe stay I'm not sure where they stay. Maybe the hookworms have their specific place of location in our body.
It's chest, head, and stomach. Like, remember I mentioned the 3 corpses earlier from Taoism? It's not corpses as in like there's 3 like zombies in our body. It's 3 worms that turn us into corpses is how it translates. And they say in the head, they say in the heart, and they say in the stomach, which, makes a lot of sense really, because people are going around almost in like a zombie-like state, right? They're cold-hearted. A lot of people are cold-hearted. They only care about themselves, right? And they're feeding themselves all sorts of garbage and just eating anything. So does that correlate to the worm in the head? Does that correlate to the worm in the heart? And does that correlate to the worm in the stomach? Perhaps, but it does make sense.
Someone has a question here. Please go ahead and ask the question. This is Wings.
Hi.
Yeah,
Howdy.
welcome.
Yes. Okay. Hi, Shea. Hi, Frederick. Thank you so much for this amazing talk. You can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. I just wanted to know, Shea, if you have any experience with the terps taking it orally. I've done some protocols where the protocol where you put it on sugar cubes and take it orally. And my body always feels really enlivened when I do that. So I just wondered if you had any experience with that and any feedback. Thanks.
Yeah, Morgan, exactly like you said, I've done that protocol as well. I took the 3 sugar cubes, stacked them on top of each other, and I believe it was about 5 milliliters times 5. I want to believe it was a teaspoon of pure gum spirits turpentine I dripped onto it, put it in the mouth, chewed it up, took it down with a glass of water. Yeah, that is also a very good method. I believe that one works best for removing candida, if I'm not mistaken. But overall, it's like that, we have to try different things and see what works best for us. It seems like that worked really well for you. So, I mean, something like that, I would look at as like, okay, like maybe there's more to it, right? Did you ever try it for a prolonged period of time, or would you just do it like once and that was it?
I was doing it semi-regularly, so protocol, and then I would pause, and then I would do another protocol. So I'm trying to think of how long I left in between. Like I would leave about a month in between. I think I did that like 3 times in a row, and my body always loved it. So I just, and so hearing you talk about using terps on topically, like in a bath, got me really happy and excited too. So yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic in a bath. I would really recommend doing the cycle. Look up Zalmanov and find his website. And you could read into it. I don't have it handy. I'm looking on my monitors, but he's got pretty good detailed description of how to go through the protocol. And I noticed, fantastic changes in my overall just blood flow to my entire body, extremities. So definitely worth looking into if you had a good experience, ingesting it orally, I would say.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. I feel we need to wrap it up because everyone put it very long.
What time is it?
Okay, just an hour fast. And we may think just 30 minutes. So yeah, if somebody else has something, I think there's some things you have been talking about or quoting, maybe like the protocol where you got it from. Maybe we'll put it below the videos for the people to follow up for like something like that. Maybe if you feel that is going to be okay. And if there's something that you want to say as a conclusion, if there's no any other more questions, then we wrap it up from this point. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah, I
much.
mean, I can so you said yeah, I mean, we could probably write something up, right? And like put it with the video, right? Maybe to kind of condense and structure and organize the information a little better, which would probably be nice, I think.
Exactly. That's okay. Mm. Okay. So
Closing
thank you.
notes. Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
everybody for showing up. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to get these demons out of us because life should be beautiful. Life should be brilliant because we all are naturally. If we're not feeling that way, there's something stopping that from coming in. And, from my experience, it's these things. And, once we get rid of them, the highway's open and we're on cruise control and just life is what it should be. Fantastic.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much.